sum or difference identities. So for sum or difference identities, we have one for cosine and one for sine. So the formula for the cosine one is cosine of x plus or minus y equals cosine of x times cosine of y plus or minus sine of x times sine of y. So for cosine, you have to note a sign change. So for example, if you have a cosine that's x plus y, you're going to change it to a subtraction. And if you have a cosine that's x minus y, you change it to an addition sign. For sine, the formula is sine of x plus or minus y equals sine of x times cosine of y plus or minus cosine of x times sine of y. And for sine, the sign doesn't change. So if you have sine of x plus y, it's still going to be an addition sign. And for subtraction, it's still going to be a subtraction sign. So in this first example, we have find the exact value of cosine of 15. So this is an example where you're expanding and evaluating. So for this one, we are going to find 2 degrees that subtract or add to 15, preferably that are on a unit circle, so it makes it easier to find values. So I'm going to use 45 and 30. So I'm going to do cosine of 45 degrees minus 30 degrees, because that gives me cosine of 15 degrees. And so now I'm going to expand it even more using the first formula, the one for cosine. I'm going to expand it into this. So it's going to become cosine of 45 degrees times cosine of 30 degrees plus, because you have to remember there's a sign change for cosine, sine of 45 degrees times sine of 30 degrees. And now using the unit circle, I plug in the values for each of these. So cosine of 45 is root 2 over 2 times cosine of 30 is root 3 over 2 plus sine of 45, which is root 2 over 2, times sine of 30, which is 1/2. So root 2 over 2 times root 3 over 2 gives me root 6 over 4, plus root 2 over 2 times 1 over 2 gives me root 2 over 4. Since these have a common denominator, I can add them together. So I have root 6 plus root 2 all over 4. Now we have a second example. And in this example, we're using sine, and it says find the exact value of sine of 105 degrees. So this is another expanding and evaluating. So now we're going to use the formula for sine, and we're going to expand it to this right here. So I'm going to add 2 values to get 105 degrees, and I'm going to use 60 and 45. So I'm going to have sine of 60 degrees plus 45 degrees. And I'm going to expand it even more, and it's going to give me sine of 60 degrees times cosine of 45 degrees. And with sine, you don't have a sign change, so it's still addition. So plus cosine of 60 degrees times sine of 45 degrees. So now I'm going to use the unit circle and find the values for all 4 of these. So sine of 60 is root 3 over 2 times cosine of 45, which is root 2 over 2, plus cosine of 60, which is 1/2, times sine of 45, which is root 2 over 2. Now I'm going to multiply root 3 over 2 times root 2 over 2, and that gives me root 6 over 4 plus 1/2 times root 2 over 2, which gives me root 2 over 4. And these have the same denominator, so I can add them together. So I get root 6 plus root 2 all over 4.